I didn't know AI could cry. We only have one more week of Love Island, can you believe it? Episode 29 full recap from start to finish. If you haven't watched it, save this and come back after you watch. The episode starts off fresh after the vote off, and Kenzie and Dylan are talking about how Kenzie feels betrayed by Melanie. Kenzie is shocked because she feels that Melanie is her best friend, so how could she vote for her? She also says, how can Melanie vote like that? She hasn't even checked in on me to ask how I feel about you. Meanwhile, Melanie and Sincere are talking about the exact same thing. Melanie feels bad that she had to vote for Kenzie, but at the end of the day, she sticks by what she's saying, and she does feel that Kenzie would have explored if she had the chance. Meanwhile, Sincere is trying to make her feel better, and Melanie is like, you're the wrong person to say anything about exploring. Then they talk about how Corbin and Parmita voted for them, and Sincere is like, I can't believe he said that we're a toxic couple. Like, we're not a toxic couple. You know, Sincere, that is exactly what a toxic man would say. Corbin and Parmita are also talking about the vote off, and Parmita is just talking about how she is just really annoyed with Kenzie. She feels that Kenzie hasn't even tried to like be her friend, and she feels that she avoids her at all costs, and she's just not very nice to her. Meanwhile, the safe couples are just feeling really good that they didn't get any votes. So Carlin and I are feeling really good, and they're excited to share a bed tonight. Casey and TT are feeling really good, even though they thought they were going to get some votes. Zach and Kate are feeling good. Zach was like, we didn't get any votes. Yeah, Zach, that wasn't for you. It's because they want to keep Kata around, that's why. Brittany is feeling really good, and Bryce said it was so good to stand up there and say all these things about you so that I can show you I'm choosing you. Sincere can't get over the fact that Parmita and Corbin said that he and Melanie are in a toxic relationship, so he's like, we're not in a toxic relationship. Maybe I'm toxic, but we're not in a toxic relationship. Yes, you are. Zach asked Corbin what he meant about the backstabbing comment, and Corbin was like, because he was telling us one thing about these kisses, and then we saw on movie night it was a completely different thing. Like, movie night was eye-opening for me. Carlin and I are finally sharing a bed again. They're really excited to be next to each other, and Carl tells her she looks really pretty, and she's like, no, and he was like, no, really, like, you are so naturally beautiful. Also, huge Brittany news, they slept together. Melanie asked Parmita whose idea was it to vote me and Sincere, and Parmita goes, it was my idea, but Corbin agreed with me. And then once again, Parmita and Kenzie are getting into it in the dressing room. It's really quick, but they just kind of like go at it with each other a little bit. So they have a chat outside. Kenzie is apologizing for the vote off last night. She's like, listen, no hard feelings. I just had to like vote for somebody. But Parmita is not just upset about that. She's upset about how Kenzie is acting around her in the villa. So TT is there to mediate, and she was like, listen, Parmita, I mean, Kenzie could have voted for whoever she wanted. It's her choice. But I get what you're saying. You feel that there's animosity in general. It seemed like it was a really productive conversation, and everybody got out what they needed to say. Corbin and Sincere are talking about the vote off and all the comments that came with it. And Corbin kept it real and was like, you didn't keep it 100% honest with us, and I did feel like you were leading us to believe one thing, but then we clearly saw something else happen. And Sincere owned up to it, but it's just interesting how he can do that with the guys, but he couldn't do that with Melanie the multiple times she's ever given him a chance to do so. Melanie and Kenzie are having a conversation. It first starts off with Kenzie feeling really betrayed by Melanie for voting for her and Dylan the night before. Melanie is sticking to her guns, and she's like, girl, I know you. I just feel like you were not done exploring. And Kenzie just feels like, well, you didn't check in on me. Like, you're my best friend. You didn't even ask how I felt about him. And then their conversation shifted to their friendship. Melanie said, I'm shocked that you're saying that you're my best friend, because it hasn't felt like you were my best friend. When Soul was in here, you were constantly with Soul and not checking in on me and how I felt about that whole situation. Meanwhile, Kenzie feels that Melanie was constantly going to Trinity and Anaya or Kata and not to her. And it really hurt her feelings to hear that Melanie felt that they were not best friends, and she actually cried. I think this is the first time we've seen her cry. But they both apologized and said that they were going to be better friends to each other. They get a text, and all the couples are going to be entering in a karaoke couples contest. So all the couples are practicing their songs and their dance moves. A moment for Ariana, who always looks so cute. So everyone's dressed up. They set up a little stage for them. The way it works is every couple is going to perform, and then at the end, every single couple has to pick and vote who they think was the top performer to the worst. I know nobody asked for this, but it was actually kind of cute and wholesome, so I'm gonna let you know what every couple did. Parmita and Corbin performed Dilemma. TT and Casey performed Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Kata and Zach performed Endless Love. Melanie and Sincere performed You're the One That I Want. Carlin and Naya performed Senorita. Trinity performed No Air. Their performance cracked me up because Bryce was doing all kinds of moves. I'm forgetting the song that Kenzie and Dylan sings to, but honestly, they had the best choreography. They really practiced their dance moves, and then at the end, Kenzie does a split, and then Dylan does a split above her. They did so well that all the Islanders voted for them to win King and Queen of Karaoke. Then Ariana said, well, you guys aren't the only ones who's done voting, so she breaks the news to all of them that America has been voting for who they think is most compatible couple. So in no particular order, she announces all the couples that are safe. So Trinity is safe, Carlin and I are safe, and to everyone's shock and surprise, Melanie and Sincere are safe. And let's be so for real, everyone is voting for Melanie, not for Sincere. They're doing this to keep Melanie around. And the fourth safe couple voted by America was KC and TT. They were both equally shocked as well as the rest of the Islanders. And remember how these two won King and Queen of Karaoke? Well, that also means that they are safe from elimination tonight as well. So that leaves Parmita and Corbin and Zach and Kata who are on the chopping block. I was shocked to see Kata and Zach in the bottom two, but I think America did that because they really dislike Zach. Now every couple has to go and stand next to the couple they want to stay in the villa. And one by one they choose. Majority of the couples are choosing to stand next to Kata and Zach. The only couple that is standing next to Corbin and Parmita are Casey and TT. Melanie and Sincere are the last to vote, and of course they choose to stand next to Kata and Zach, which means Parmita and Corbin are dumped from the island. And now everyone is saying goodbye to Parmita and Corbin, and Kenzie and Corbin even have a little moment where Kenzie was like, I'm so sorry for everything. And Corbin was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Me and you are good. You have nothing to worry about. And the boys are really sad. So sad that Corbin ends up crying and he says he's gonna miss them. And while he's crying, of course, Bryce is like, oh my God, it has feelings. I didn't know AI can cry. Corbin says goodbye to Sincere and KC, who were the two closest boys to him, and Parmita and TT share a moment together because of course they came here from Casa. They're doing their usual and taking group photos, and they say their last goodbyes to the villa. On their way out, they said they're so grateful for this experience because it brought them together, and they're still going to explore outside of the villa. And that was the episode. If you guys made it this far, you're a real one. Leave a disco ball emoji in the comments, and I will see you guys tomorrow night with another recap.